Am I wrong for not lying about why I could not remove my headscarf? I, 24 female, am a bridesmaid for one of my closest friends, Jackie, 24. I've been so excited to help. I was in charge of the bridal shower, the games, decorations, and menu. I left the guest list to Jackie's sister. Due to religious reasons, I wear a headscarf. I love and am very proud of it. In the group chat with other bridesmaids, I was talking about how excited I am to attend a girls-only event. I recently dyed my hair and wanted to show it off. I even paid extra to ask for a girls-only staff that day. Day of, as guests arrive, I realize one of them is Tori, 26 female. I know Tori as a family friend of Jackie's, but the few times I met her, it was before her transition to female. I was aware of it, but unaware she was coming to the shower. I don't mind at all, of course, and she's a lovely person, but I decided to keep my scarf on. As everyone's eating later, I'm passing by the tables to make sure everyone's good, and one of my bridesmaids mentioned that they hadn't gotten to see my hair and they wanted to see it. I tried to dismiss it at first or say, oh, I'll show you later, but the other girls at the table got curious. I got uncomfortable and I just said, oh, I'm actually not really comfortable taking it off right now. When pressed as to why, I said there's guests I don't feel comfortable taking it off in front of. There was a collective, oh, and I thought, cool, that's over. But one girl got aggressive and asked if I was referring to Tori. She's loud and the other tables turn to look. I don't answer. The girl asks if I wear one around men, so I say yes. She then says there's no men here, so clearly you should take it off. I tell her again that I'm keeping it on. Another bridesmaid defends me and tells the girl to chill out. Tori comes over and says me not taking it off is a slap in the face to her identity. I'm just shocked and had no clue what to do. Eventually, Tori and a few girls left saying that they felt it was disrespectful. I feel awful that this ruined a beautiful day for my friend. It's causing more trouble with people threatening to leave the wedding over discrimination towards me or towards Tori. I don't think I was in the wrong. Just as Tori can be Tori, I can be me. I feel like it'd be the equivalent of me making Tori or someone else adjust for me. I feel like we should just accept and respect each other rather than be woke one-sided. My question is more about being honest as to why I couldn't. Jackie is on my side, but Jackie's sister is giving her hell for it, saying she purposely left out that detail in the guest list to test me. Jackie says I should have brushed it off and said I was having a bad hair day or avoid giving an answer. I didn't ever mention Tori's name in my answer, and I don't think my answer was rude, but seeing how much stress it's causing, I'm thinking I should have made up a lie. So, am I wrong for how I handled the situation?
My husband and I hired a nanny back in August to take care of our kids while we're working. The kids are on a weird schedule at school where they don't attend every day or all day, so we hired a full-time nanny named Marie. We liked Marie despite some issues with her following guidelines we discussed when we hired her. She let the kids have way too much screen time, she spent more time on her phone than with the kids, she would make messes and let the kids make messes and she wouldn't clean up after them, she had friends over without letting us know, and she let the kids pick out on junk food instead of feeding them real food. All of this had been discussed when we hired her, and we saw it all when we reviewed our security cam footage, so we sat her down about 3 different times and gave her official warnings each time. She'd improve for a while each time but go back to the way she'd been before. 3 days ago, Marie called out and said she was really sick. I told her to get better and then I'd call out from work to be with the kids. I'm in the middle of a big project at work and people not coming in hurt everyone, but I'm a mom first and I don't expect Marie to take care of the kids if she feels sick, so I called out. The next day, it was really hot out and the local water park is running an off-season special with cheap tickets, so I took the kids out and after a while we ran into Marie and her group of friends. I really couldn't say anything except that I hoped she was feeling better. Marie started to apologize and told me that her best friend had gotten tickets at the park and she wanted to go, but she didn't think I would have given her the day off. I told her that I would have if only she told me the truth. I explained to her that she lied to me and made me call out at a time that was really inconvenient. If she told me the truth, I would have understood and have been more than happy to give her the day off and call out myself. It's the fact that she lied to me is what upset me. I added the lie to her other warnings and decided she wasn't worth keeping employed. My husband and I pay well above market rate and provide everything. All she needed to do was take care of the kids and follow a few rules we set. I took her aside and really quietly and as kindly as possible explained this to her and told her that I paid for the whole week, but she was fired. Marie started crying and her friends figured out what was happening. They called me a bitch, a Karen, a monster. My kids got upset, so I took them and left. Marie has been blowing up my phone with apologies and begging for another chance. Some of my friends said that I should have given her another chance, but that firing her was an overreaction. Am I the asshole for firing my nanny for faking sick to get out of work?
Am I wrong for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? For my friend's 3-day wedding, I had to buy 3 different dresses, including alterations and specific shoes, which totaled over $700. She also wanted specific hairstyles for each day. Unfortunately, starting in March, my hair started to deteriorate. Due to health reasons, my hair was falling out in chunks, and in May, I made the difficult decision to cut my hair. I told the bride about my decision 2 weeks before the wedding, and she didn't say anything bad. The following week, she came over to my house, and when she was about to leave, she brought up that she was concerned about my haircut, and I told her it would look good even though I wouldn't be in uniform with the other bridesmaids. The following day, I received this message. After our recent conversations, I like to remind you of my boundaries. I've been very accommodating and graceful, but I cannot allow you to disrespect me. As you know, my wedding has been something I've dreamt of for many years. My husband and I have invested a lot of money into the video and photos of this day, and as we reflect on this day in the future, we want to see our vision reflected in the memories. Since I asked each of you to be my bridesmaids in 2019, I've been very clearly and very communicative in my request. The timing of your decision to cut your hair and not income in advance is very upsetting to me. I would have felt respected if you had communicated with me more than a week prior to the wedding. wedding, so we could have worked together to find a collaborative solution. Your inconsistencies have concerned me, and while I sympathize with your health conditions, I'm not willing to compromise my vision to accommodate you, or anyone else, when you have informed me in advance and we could have found a better solution. Since this is something you can no longer fully commit to, I need you to please step down from participating in my wedding. This was 3 days before the wedding. I immediately sent her and her husband an invoice asking them to reimburse for the dresses and shoes, keeping in mind that one of the dresses is still in her possession even though I paid for it. I was told I was inconsistent and selfish after I spent the past 2 weeks helping her plan the wedding shower. I worked with another bridesmaid to surprise her with a bridal shower after our bachelorette trip had to be cancelled. I spent hours helping her out with wedding details. When she asked me to help her tone up before the wedding, I sent her a personalized workout program and even went with her to the gym to show her the ropes. When I agreed to be her bridesmaid, I was more than willing to oblige with what she asked, even if at times it was a lot of time and money. So, am I wrong for taking her to court because she kicked me out for cutting my hair?
Story time about how I fell in love with my stepdad and married him. My mom and dad divorced when I was 14 years old. This really affected me and I really wanted to move away from my parents. My mom has a tendency to be really controlling and my dad has always been like a really jealous dad. Like he never let me do anything fun or even let me hang out with boys. After they got divorced, I told my parents that I wanted to go to an art school. But not just any art school, this was a boarding school. I was really eager to get away from my parents and just basically have my own life. While I was in this art school, my mom actually remarried. So this guy became my stepdad. My mom told me that she was really in love with him and that everything was perfect. They would come visit me every now and then, so I did meet him a couple of times. Finally, when I was 18, I graduated and went back home. This is where things get really complicated. My mom owned 2 salons and was never home. My stepdad worked from home and was there all day. This meant that I had to spend a lot of time with him. Every now and then, he would ask me to go to dinner and to the movies, just like hang out. And before I knew it, I was developing feelings. Let me remind you again that I was 18. I knew that this was really bad. I mean, this was my mom's husband. But there was something about him I really liked. That's when he started opening up to me about how controlling my mom was in the relationship and how he was actually thinking of leaving her. Now, trust me, when he told me this, I was like, oh my god. But that's when I realized that he probably liked me too. I mean, we hung out all the time. And the vibes were there. I knew I had to get away, so I decided to go study abroad. But my stepdad and I kept in touch. He would email me and text me all the time. And before I knew it, we were talking every single day. One day I get a message from him saying that he caught my mom cheating. Now, honestly, this didn't surprise me because that's why my mom's relationship with my dad ended. He asked me to come home and I did. And when I saw him again, I realized that I actually was falling in love with him. That's when I realized that I had fallen in love with my stepdad. At this point, I was 18 years old. He asked me to come home because he found out that my mom was cheating on him. He asked my mom for the divorce and she said yes. Apparently, my mom was actually going to move in with the guy that she was cheating on my stepdad with, which is a whole other story. My stepdad seemed brokenhearted, but at the same time really relieved. And because of this, we actually started spending more and more time together. Once the dust had settled, I decided to go back to school, which was in another country. And the whole time, my ex-stepdad and I kept in contact. We would talk on the phone almost every single day. Finally, when him and my mom were officially divorced, he actually started changing with me. He started going to the gym and even bought himself a new car. Oh yeah, and he got himself a condo. He started sending me selfies of him in the mirror and showing off his abs and stuff like that. At first, I was like, maybe this is innocent, but then I realized that he was definitely flirting with me. On my 20th birthday, I decided to go home and visit my mom. And yes, I knew that I would be seeing my stepdad. My mom and I had dinner and she told me that my stepdad was actually seeing other women. And this made me extremely jealous. My mom noticed it and asked me if I was upset. I said no, but she kept prying. Finally, I confessed to my own mother that I was in love with her ex-husband. Being the drama queen that my mother is, she instantly started to cry and told me that I was trying to ruin her life. She got up from the table and ran out of the restaurant. After that, my mom did not want to take my phone calls. So instead, I went over to my ex-stepdad's house, and I decided to just come out and tell him everything I felt about him. When I finished talking, he actually smiled and hugged me. He told me to just ignore my mom and that everything was going to be fine. He instantly made me feel so much better. And then he told me that he actually had feelings for me too. I mean, I was so happy, but at the same time, I knew that I couldn't be with him because of my mom. I also mentioned to him that my mom said that he was dating a bunch of other women, and he told me that he had been going out on some dates, but that he only ever thought of me. He then asked me if I wanted to give our relationship a shot. I didn't know what else to say except yes, because I was so happy. Then we became boyfriend and girlfriend secretly. So my ex-stepdad and I began a secret relationship. At this point, I was 19 years old, and my ex-stepdad was 47. Since my mom was not speaking to me, I decided to send her an email. And I explained to her that I had every intention to date my ex-stepdad. Finally, a few months later, she called me back. Mind you, my mom had cheated on my ex-stepdad and that's why they got divorced. And she told me that she would accept the relationship. Then out of nowhere, she told me that I should start planning my wedding. Mind you, I had only been dating my ex-stepdad for a little bit. It feels weird calling him my ex-stepdad, so now I'll just call him my boyfriend. Now the problem is I get judgment from my entire family. My aunts and uncles hate my boyfriend, and I'm pretty sure my mom has been telling them that he's actually a cheater when she was the one that cheated. It's been 2 years now and I'm still with my boyfriend. But he recently asked me if I was open to getting married, and I said yes. Now the problem is, I don't know what to do about it. We discussed it at length, and I basically told him that I think we should elope. He tells me that I'll regret it and that I should have my family there, but I know they hate him. I mean, it is a very weird situation, but they don't understand that I didn't grow up with him. I didn't meet him until I was 18 years old. When my mom found out that we were gonna get married, she actually started planning the wedding without my consent. She even tried to pick out my wedding dress and the cake. So 2 weeks ago, my boyfriend and I actually eloped. We're married, and literally nobody in my family knows. My mom still thinks she's planning the wedding, and I just don't know how to break it to her that there is no wedding. Should I keep the secret or should I tell my family? I really need help here.
Okay, so story time at the time my friend did me dirty. This all started in December, like this past December. A friend from high school had hit me up and she was like, hey, I have nowhere to stay. Like, do you think I could stay at your place for a couple of days, And then I was like, yeah, like, of course, because I know what it's like not to have a place to stay and to just be struggling, So I was like, yeah, of course, you could stay here until you get your apartment, because she said that she was going to be getting her apartment soon. And it was my apartment, so she was going to be staying there, like I didn't have to run it by nobody. And when she came, she didn't really have any money saved up or anything. She was working a job, but she didn't have really anything saved up. So with that being said, when she moved in, she was like, hey, I'll help you pay for rent, pay for, whatever you want. Like, how much do you want? I was like, well, I know you don't have anything saved up right now, and you're trying to save up for your apartment, so give me whatever you can. Like, maybe at least like 100, like every 2 weeks, like 200 a month. That's not bad at all, especially if you're working a full-time job. So she was like, okay, cool. She agreed to that. And then her phone broke, right? And I had an extra phone, like my old phone. And so I was like, hey, I'll sell it to you, And then so it was an 8 Plus. And she was like, oh, okay, how much do you want for it? And I was like, I don't know, like 150, right? And then she was like, okay, cool, can I give it to you once I get paid? And I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. Okay, so December passes, right? And then she still hasn't paid me like 100 or anything. She had already been there for a couple weeks. And I'm like, but I wasn't gonna press her for it. I was like, maybe she just really needs the money. I'm too nice, okay? I'm too nice. And she also really wasn't home. She would only come home to sleep, and that was like the most I would see her. So then for New Year's, I was gonna be going to California to spend it with my family. And so before I left, I did all my laundry, I left it in a basket, and I put it in the corner of my room. So I left to California. I was gone for like a couple days, and then I came back, and then I really didn't notice anything unusual, so I just kept going. And then I used to work the night shift, so I would work from 5:30 p.m. to 4 a.m. So I would sleep all day, and I had all my clothes basically in the basket and some of it on the floor, but anything that was on the floor in my room was clean, because when I got ready, I would just toss everything around. And I had a basket for my dirty clothes in the closet. This is important, trust me. So then I start noticing all of a sudden that some of the clothes that I'm looking for, some of my sweatpants, some of my shirts, they're not popping up. And I'm like, I know I'm not fucking going crazy. And she had her bags of clothes in my closet, and I wasn't about to go through them, because I'm not about to invade someone else's privacy. And one night I'm getting ready for work, and I'm trying to find my lashes in my mirror. I have all my makeup in the bathroom, right? So I'm trying to find my lashes in the mirror, and I can't find the specific lashes. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I know I'm not going crazy. Like, these lashes don't leave this fucking mirror. So I just decided to put on some other lashes, right? I go on about my day. And then the next morning when I come back, because I get off at work at 4. So the next morning when I come back, I find some shorts and some panties on the bathroom floor. And those panties are fucking mine, and those shorts are fucking mine, the ones that I hadn't seen for weeks. And I'm looking at them on the ground, and I'm like, I know for a fact I haven't seen these in weeks, and I have not worn them. How the fuck are they here? And you could tell they were used. Like, it was so fucking nasty. So at this point, I'm like, oh, fuck no. So she wasn't home, like I said. Like, oh, by the way, like I said in my past video, I used to work 5:30 to 4, and in those past weeks, since I had gotten home from New Year's from LA, she wasn't there when I was there. Like, she would only come home when I wasn't there. So she wasn't there because she knew I would get off at 4 and I would be home. And I was also packing all my stuff up because I was going to be moving out of my apartment. So long story short, I decided to go through her bags. I'm like, you know what, fuck this. Like, if I see my stuff missing and like I find this shit used, like, she has my fucking clothes. So I go through her bags, and sure enough, I found like more than like 20 items, like 20 to 30 items of my clothes in her bags. Panties, sweatpants, pants, shirts, all this shit, right? I'm setting all my clothes aside except for the panties. I let her keep that shit. I don't want that nasty shit, okay? I called my friend over. He lived in the same apartments, and I'm like, you're seeing this shit, right? Like, I need someone to like believe that this shit is not being made up. So then I call up my friends, and I'm like, look, like, this bitch, I'm gonna confront her, but she's the type that will like cause a whole fucking scene, and I don't want her to run out with my shit, especially because she still hadn't paid me my phone. So my friends are like, okay, cool, at 12 we're gonna show up. Like, tell her to come home, because you need to tell her to give you the keys since you're gonna be moving out. And this is the biggest thing for me. So after I found the clothes, I just started packing my stuff right into bags and stuff. And then I noticed that something of mine, like sentimental value, like something that was my dad's, is missing. And it did not leave this specific cabinet. So I'm like, you're fucking lying if she took this, because nobody else goes in my room. My dad has passed away 2 years ago, so this is something like of big sentimental value to me. My friends come, this is the first time meeting her, and they walk in through the living room and they're like, hi, because my friends aren't fucking rude. And she just looks at them and is like, and keeps doing what she's doing. So they come into my room, they're like, what the fuck? So then we're in the balcony and we're talking, we're like, okay, so how are we gonna confront her about it, because she needs to give me the money and she needs to give me my shit back. So we confront her, right? Well, me and my friend walk into the living room and my friend's just standing with me, right? And so I'm trying to talk to her and I'm like, hey, so like da-da-da-da-da, like I need my keys back, like da-da-da-da. And I was gonna like be like, okay, so like where's my shit, you know? And then she just turns to my friend and she's like, why are you here? And I'm like, what the fuck? Mind you, she's never met my friend before. And then my friend's like, I can't be here. And then she was like, yeah, you can, but this is the me and her conversation. Why are you here? And then she was like, would it make you feel better if I stood over there? And then she was like, I would feel better if you minded your fucking business. So she turns to my friend and is like, I would feel better if you minded your fucking business. And she's never met my friend before, so she's literally disrespecting my best friend in my fucking apartment, which I let her stay in for free basically because she hadn't paid me shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? We're both like, what? And then my other two friends that were in my room walk in and they're like, yo, what the fuck? Like, you're really disrespecting her in her own fucking apartment. And then she starts going off on my friends and I'm like, okay. So then they're like, okay, you need to give her shit back. We know you've been stealing from her, like all this shit. Like, they tell her everything up front. Because I was more bummed because in like deep inside of me, I knew that I was not gonna be getting my shit back from like that she took from my dad. Like, and that really just like, I couldn't even like go off because like I was genuinely like hurt by that shit. So they're telling her like, we know you took her shit, like she found your shit in her bags, like all this shit. And you know what this bitch said? She said, how do you know it's her stuff? We wear a lot of the same clothes. Bitch, you're telling me we wear the exact same panties, the exact same sweatpants, the exact same shirts that for some reason you have, but all of a sudden mine went missing. So then she's like, you know what, you can go through my bags, I don't have your shit. And I'm like, yeah, bitch, you don't have it anymore because I took it out of your fucking bags. And during this whole thing, like, she's on FaceTime with her sister, and then she's like, she tells her sister, she's like, you know what, tell so and so and so to pull up right now to, and then she gives them my address. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, bitch, what? And then she's like, oh, I don't have your shit, why would I take your shit? I have racks. She said I have racks. Bitch, you have racks, but you're staying at somebody else's house and you're not even paying them rent. The fuck you mean you have racks? So she tells her friends to pull up, right, or whatever. And like, she's getting her shit, like she's getting her bag. She's like, you know what, I'm fucking leaving. And I'm like, bro, like, and then they were like, bro, like, get your shit back. I'm like, do you not see, like, she's not gonna give me my shit back. Anything that she has taken from me, especially my dad's stuff, she probably doesn't even have it with her anymore. Like, that bitch probably sold it. As she's going down the stairs, one of my other friends is coming up the stairs, and then she hears her saying that like I'm a nasty bitch and like all this shit, right? And then so she gets up in her face, and then she's like literally going off on her like, did you give her shit back? Give her her fucking shit back. And this bitch wants to like fucking like whimper, like she's like, I don't have her shit, like da 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 da, right? Fucking bullshit, right? So since she's not admitting to anything else, they're like, okay, we'll give her the fucking money for the phone. And then she's like, okay, bet, like I'm gonna go to the bank and I'm gonna take out, like I'm gonna give you 300 right now. And then so we're like, bet. And then so she's like, you guys want to come with me? And then we're like, no, just like, we're gonna keep some of your bags here, go give us the fucking money and we'll give you your shit back. She leaves, and then like not even 10 minutes later she texts us and she's like, you know what, like meet me at this bank, I'm gonna have my friends pull up. We're not going to no fucking setup. So we just left it alone. We kept her bags. She didn't come back with the money, and that was that. And then a couple days, I realized that she ended up taking some of my fucking shoes. So be careful who you let move into your fucking house and make sure that they're really your friends.